Excuses are dream killers. They sound reasonable, they sound protective, but really, they are just lies that we tell ourselves. I can't isn't the truth. I won't is the truth. Today, we're calling out every excuse that's holding you back and taking your power back. Hey, it's Carrie. Welcome back to Project U 2.2, the place where we get honest about what's really holding us back and start stepping into the version of ourselves that actually follows through. Today's topic: excuses. We all make them. They sound logical, but they quietly convince us to stay small. They're sneaky little comfort blankets wrapped in logic. And today, we're done with them. You know how we say things like, I can't get up early to work out, or I can't start dating again. I can't afford to go back to school. But what if I told you can't is usually a cover word? It's a softer way of saying I won't. When we say I can't, we play the victim in our own story. But when we say I won't, we take ownership. When I used to say I can't get up and exercise before work, what I really meant was I won't sacrifice that extra sleep. It wasn't about ability, it was about my willingness. And that's okay. But when we start to own it, when we replace can't with won't, it sounds silly, but we reclaim control because can't makes us powerless. Won't gives us choice. I can't afford it means it's uncomfortable and I won't prioritize it. I can't make time really means I'm scared or I won't schedule it. I can't change means I won't commit long enough to see change. That one little language shift, it pulls you out of victimhood and puts you back in charge. Let's talk about the big ones, the classics. I'm too busy. I don't have time. I don't have the money. I'm too old. The good ones are already taken. Have you ever said any of those comments? These are the lies that sound like logic, but let's pull them apart. I don't have time. When we think about that excuse, we all get 24 hours in a day. The difference isn't time, it is priority. Americans spend an average of 3 hours a day on their phones and about 30 to 60 minutes scrolling social media. Many of us spend more. If you spent just 30 minutes a day doing something that moved your life forward, you ready? Here's the math teacher. That's 182 hours in a year. That's more than a month's worth of work days. Think about what you could do with that time. You could write the first draft of your book, learn a new skill. You could walk 500 miles. Completely change your health. We have the time. We just waste it on things that don't change our future. If it's important, we make time. If it's not important to us, or if it seems too hard, we make an excuse. Another one, I don't have the money or I can't afford it. Sometimes we truly don't have it, but most of the time, we're not willing to rearrange for it. If we tracked every $5 coffee, and that's on the light side for our coffee, if we tracked our takeout meals or streaming services, we could probably find hundreds of dollars a month that could fund something meaningful. You can't say, I want to change my life, and also say, I won't invest in myself. Because the truth is, if we want something bad enough, we find a way. If not, we find an excuse. How about the old, I'm too old or it's too late? I don't care if you're 80 years old, you are not too old and it is not too late. Every age has a purpose. If you woke up this morning, you've still got work to do here. And I don't just mean career work, I mean the soul work of becoming who you are meant to be. Don't compare yourself to a 25-year-old on Instagram, but instead be inspired by the 75-year-old still training for marathons, or the 60-year-old woman who started her first business after raising 3 kids. Your timeline is your own. Excuses don't belong to you. They are borrowed from fear. Think about that. Excuses don't belong to you. They are borrowed from fear. Think about a time in your life when something felt impossible. You didn't have the money or the time or the support, but something inside you said, do it anyway. Maybe it was going back to school or walking away from a toxic job or a relationship. Maybe deciding to get healthy. Somehow you figured it out. That version of you didn't wait for perfect conditions. You just started. You found a way. So why are we still giving our excuses the microphone in our lives? I'll tell you why. Because they feel safe. They protect us from failure, but they also block us from freedom. You're responsible for your life. Honestly, you're the only one responsible for your life. That's the hard truth, and it could also be liberating. The moment you stop saying I can't and start asking, how can I? Everything changes. Let me tell you about one of our sons. He wanted to compete in an Ironman and then a 100-mile race. For both races, he didn't have fancy equipment or perfect conditions. He borrowed gear. He trained anyway. He wasn't the fastest or the strongest. He was the youngest. He didn't let excuses win. He didn't let fear stop him before the race. And he surely didn't let pain stop him during it. At one point, he thought he had broken bones in his feet and he still had 25 miles to go and he wasn't going to let that stop him. He was hallucinating. The weather conditions were horrible, but he wouldn't stop. He would have crawled into that finish line, and honestly, he was doing an old man shuffle coming in after the end of the 100 miles. That's the mindset shift. Excuses whisper, you can't. Determination says, watch me. So here's your challenge this week. Catch your excuses in real time. When you say, I can't, pause and ask yourself if that is really true. Or are you just choosing not to? When you go to use one of those excuses, stop and ask yourself, is it impossible or uncomfortable? If someone tells me they couldn't afford the health plan when I do health coaching, it's because usually they're not used to spending money on themselves and investing in themselves. So often we have to stop and ask ourselves, is it impossible or uncomfortable to spend money on ourselves and to invest in ourselves? Because what I found quite truthfully was I was using it out of fear. I was using it out of fear of trying again because I didn't want to fail. Because when I look at my kids, I was spending more than that on my kids. And I wouldn't think twice about spending that on fast food for them. So replacing I can't with I won't, or I don't have time with it's not a priority, or I don't have money, and shift it to I'm not investing in that right now. Watch how your brain starts to shift into responsibility, because excuses keep us safe. Ownership makes us unstoppable. We see the truth then. We're not living in these false lies that keep us comfortable. You are capable of more than you've let yourself believe, and excuses don't define your limits. Your choices define your limits. The life you want, whatever that is, whatever goals you have that you haven't attained, They are on the other side of the excuses that you keep repeating. So today, eliminate just one. Not all of them, just one. Trade one excuse for an action. Trade a scroll on social media for a walk. Trade a complaint for a commitment. This is Project You 2.2, and this is the version of you. It's where that can't becomes the version of you that does. Have a great day.